Park kids. This is Countdown to Christmas with Advent blocks. Our star is on block number 18. Let's look at block 18 and see what the picture is. It's a speech bubble. Now let's read story 18. The world's longest quiet game. The story of Elizabeth and Zechariah, part 2. Do you remember what the angel said to Zechariah? Don't be afraid, God is coming to stay, and your baby boy will prepare the way. That's right, your wife will get pregnant today. And do you remember how Zechariah told his wife about that? Well, he didn't really tell her. He wrote it down for her on something called a tablet. It's not like an iPad or Kindle or something you might have today. Back then, a tablet was a hard piece of clay that you wrote on, sort of like paper, but dirtier. But wait a minute, why do you think Zechariah was writing on a tablet? Well, when the angel told Zechariah that he was going to be a daddy, Zechariah didn't believe him. God had been silent for so long that Zechariah thought God would never speak again. The angel must have had a sense of humor because he said, Zechariah, don't you think God has something to say? I'll tell you what, because you didn't believe me, you won't be able to talk at all until your baby is born. You'll still have your mouth and your tongue and your teeth and your lips, and even the little hangy ball thing in the back of your throat, but no voice. Sure enough, when Zechariah walked out of the temple, he couldn't say a word. He kept waving his hands around and pointing to his mouth. Eventually, everybody figured it out. Zechariah couldn't talk. Have you ever played the quiet game? It's hard to sit quietly for 2 minutes, isn't it? How about 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Can you imagine going for 9 months and not saying anything at all? That's 394,200 minutes. Not even the best quiet game champion can do that. But Zechariah did, because you see, God was teaching Zechariah to listen to him and to trust him. And all throughout those 9 months, God was with Zechariah. Even when it was hard, even when he couldn't speak, even when everyone started to say he would never speak again, God was with Zechariah. At last, Elizabeth and Zechariah had their baby, and Zechariah must have learned how to listen to God because the first thing he did was write on a tablet. God said, name this baby John. Zechariah had learned how to listen to God and trust him. The next thing you know, Zechariah started to whisper, and then he started to talk, and then he started to sing. God had given him his voice back. Zechariah could hardly contain his excitement. He gathered everyone in the house, jumped on top of a table, and sang in the loudest voice he could muster. For such a long time, God seemed far away, but now he has heard what we hoped and we prayed. God is coming to earth to stay. That was story 18.